What do I mean by sloppy inputs? Long story short, you're mashing your inputs too hard. So for example, this is sloppy. This is sloppy. This is sloppy. There might be times, by the way, this last one I did, there might be times where that is actually something you could legitimately do. There's gonna be a difference, and I'm gonna explain it once I go through and help you kind of clear up what to do. People who don't understand this, they get mad and like, how dare you, you perfectionist, cocky, smug, labber, asshole. I think it's really important. This is something that's pretty easy to fix if you practice, and eventually it will just become intuitive, and there's a bunch of good benefits. So first is, why is this something that I point out about other people's play constantly? Why is it something that's bad? So we're gonna use the first example. So if he connects, you know, his stuff's gonna come out, but on whiff, he's gonna get different stuff, right? So the thing is, when you do this, when you are moving and whiffing a button and it doesn't connect, you are technically, especially like if you like whiff in front of somebody and you didn't press, Kai is technically disadvantaged. So even though he's not connecting, and even though I'm not in a spot where I can punish him for that, I am not doing anything, so I can always act before him. So this is literally him acting on minus frames because he whiffed a button near me. He's acting on minus frames here. But the onus is on you as a player to recognize that the other person is doing that and do something about it. To be honest, the main people who I find who do this are new players, which is fine, or people who play online a lot, especially delay-based netcode games. There's some people who have played for a long time who just like, especially in like Guilty Gear case, it's a very common Guilty Gear thing. Guilty Gear boomers, you gotta hold that. This is something you guys all do. Then you get hit by pin and complain about Milia, so you gotta fucking hold that, right? Some people will do this and they will swing on stuff because either it has upper body invincibility or it's just really fast or something, and like, you know, just something like that. Like in my case, every now and then I will do it either consciously, like, oh shit, I'm just gonna protect the space like this, or I just mess up and I get a button that I don't want. But why is it important besides the potential for getting hit, right? So especially this one is like not super easy to get. You know, you got to be pretty quick. My thing typically, it depends on the character situation, but for Kai, for example, I would definitely do this, and I'll hit him every time. Maybe there's someone out there who's like, well, this is not combo, so fuck you, I don't care. To which I would reply with this, and now you care a lot. This also applies to the ground game as well. This one's for new players. When you do this, okay, so this is what it looks like on block. This is what it looks like when you input it sloppily. So same thing, like when your move whiffs, once this move is active, right, you have your recovery frames, whatever it is. You have those frames of vulnerability plus the startup of your next move where you're vulnerable and not moving and just doing that thing. Of course, there are always cases where this is okay in spots, but generally you don't want to do this, and you only want to do it consciously. Like you want to do it like, and it's for screen control or something, so I'm gonna press again. You don't want to be literally just mashing out all your inputs because you are heavily disadvantaged if you do this a lot and you're making yourself very vulnerable. In my case, so you're like, okay, so how am I supposed to do it? You can see I am doing 2K2D, only my K comes out. My dust only comes out when my kick connects. This is properly buffering your inputs. This is technically an option select. A very simple one, but it is technically an option select. Doing it this way has a ton of benefits. Obviously, outside of like, you're less punishable because you're not doing a fucking long ass move. You're also recovering faster, and because you're pressing the next button already and buffering it, it's not coming out. Then, since you know you pressed the follow-up button and then you see that it does not come out, you can be like, oh, I didn't connect. I can do something. I could move, I could jump, I could see what my opponents are doing, I could run up on them again. For characters like Milia and Chip and shit, it's especially crucial you get good at this because your characters are so fucking fast. Like one of the good things about them is that they're really, really fast on the ground, good backdashes, and have a lot of air options. For your characters like Nago to Yuki and stuff, it's good that you get this so that like if your 2S connects, you get your next button, but then if you whiff, you could see that your 2S whiffed and then you could pick something else. Kai would be the same thing. So Kai like used a lot of this, right? So in this case, my 5H will not come out on whiff. So I had all that time to see that my 2S whiffed, and I could do like 2S again, backstep, whatever I gotta do. So essentially, doing it like this, benefit number one is that in neutral, it implicitly makes you faster and make you safer, and it helps you see things and make choices faster, especially once you get used to it and make it automatic. And it applies to basically any Arc Sys game that you ever play. The only one that like it doesn't 100% apply to is Dragon Ball, because auto combos are something you can do on Whip that are good. On top of this too, there's another benefit for having clean inputs, and it's for like your offensive sequences and stuff. If your opponent has something where they can do it, you will generally recover your action instead of mashing it out. So I'm going to use a really simple example of Gold Burst. It's pretty slow already, so there's not a lot of characters that have 18 frame total duration or faster moves. So that's startup plus active frames plus recovery. As a quick review, if you don't know about how fighting game attacks work, fighting game attacks are how fast it takes, startup, how long the move's out, active frames, and then after the active frames, you'll see the move out, but there's no hitbox. It's what is called recovery. Usually you could try to sneak in a punish or something. That's what we call the total duration of the move. So the thing about Gold Burst, especially when you knock them down, so even though Gold Burst is 18, and there's not a lot of moves that are 18 frame total duration, the thing that matters more is the active frames and the recovery. So it's actually pretty easy to deal with Gold Burst. This is what people call like meaties, right? So you do the attack early on someone who's getting up, so you're hitting them as soon as they get up with the active part and the recovery part. So in this case, if I did this with not a clean input, I knock him down, I'm gonna get hit, right? But if I tighten up my input a little bit, I'm going to block, which means I'll get a punish. In this game, Gold Burst is punishable compared to previous Guilty Gears. So you will be less vulnerable to opponent options as well if your inputs are clean as well. So I think this is something that's really important that everyone should get good at. It's like a really critical skill. It helps with all games. Please do it. Please do it.